Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. This is going to be one of my fairly rare unboxings and walkthroughs of Mahm Tarot. It's a Korean deck, and I'd like to say it's Tarot de Marseilles style, but there are some peculiarities, some quirks in this deck. One of them being that there's not a box that includes both of them. There's a tuck box and a book. So, if you want to take a look at this deck and how it's similar to and how it diverges from the Tarot de Marseilles, stay tuned. Well, friends, let's look at the deck. Now, full disclosure, I glanced through the book, but I have not opened up the cards yet. And that is a good thing, because glancing through the book, I realized how much I probably do not know about this deck. So, first, let's look at the book. Again, this did not come in a boxed package. These two arrived separately, the book and the deck. The deck is a tuck box. It's still in its plastic. But let's look at the book first. The book is by Kim Gi-sun, and I believe the deck is also by Kim Gi-sun. The book has about 130 pages, 129. And it starts out with, well, can you see this? Let me check. Yeah, that is the picture of Kim Gi-sun, very studio photo. And going into the book, you'll see that there's actually a lot of information. These QR codes go to videos on YouTube, which is helpful if you speak Korean. So the book starts off with a lot of information about, about the deck in general. Part 1 is how the deck was created, how it was born. Part 2 is the world of the arcana. So going into how the arcana was developed. Mahm Tarot Card. So the theoretical launching point for this deck, based on Korean artwork and culture, and also Korean structures of elements. For example, here you can see the elements are divided into wood, fire, earth, gum, which is metal or gold, and water. So it's the 5 elements in the Korean system. That cultural element is included in the general concept of the creation of this deck. Also, here are some things which might look a little bit like I Ching, but again, based on the 5 elements in Korean, not really astrology, but Korean philosophy. Let's call it philosophy, which it is. It is philosophy. Let's see. Also, in Chinese, it's called yin-yang. In Korean, it's called yang. So how it's structured based by not only element, but by the passive or active forces. And then we go into the major arcana. Now, the major arcana gives 2 pages. One page is mostly the card image, and the second page is laid out with more information, which is good, which is very good. When you get to the minor arcana, however, you will notice that there are only 2 pages per Here we are. Well, here are the court cards. Okay, so the court cards have 1 page per suit, and then the small cards from ace to 10 have 2 pages per suit. So not that much information for the minor arcana. And you can see it's very Marseille based. Yeah, this is a Korean version of a Marseille deck, which I think I mentioned, but there are some divergences. For one thing, the decoration is different. Yeah, the flowers are different. But let's look at the book. Oh, there's one more photo I wanted to show you in here, which is the creator. There's a photo of the creator painting the cards. Where did that go? Where did that go? The photo of, there she is. There's the creator painting the cards. So these are all hand-painted cards. And this is her in her workshop working. So here we go. Let's look at the deck itself. Again, I said that I opened, well, it's sealed in plastic, but I put a little cut in so that I could get into the deck more easily and quickly. Tuck box. The tuck box it's smooth matte, very nice cardboard, very nice cardstock. And so I don't damage the deck. Let me pause here for just a moment. Okay, so what I did was I got a knife out to open up the tuck box, and I got my X-Acto knife out, so I thought I shouldn't show that on camera. So now the tuck box is open, and let's see what's inside. It looks like the backs are facing us, which is always good for presentation. Mahm Tarot. Now, Mahm is an abbreviated form of Mahm, which means heart. And I think that's how I would translate this, the Heart Tarot. And it's based on Korean culture. This is just these aren't the backs. Let me flip it over to the backs. So there is a little white pamphlet, but the little white pamphlet is I don't know, has almost no use if you ask me. Maybe, yeah, there are some keywords. Okay, so put that aside. These are the backs. And if you want to compare the size to a standard tarot, this is the Alexander Danifot 2012 tarot. So you can see this size and this size are almost exactly the same. Yeah, the Korean deck is just a hair bigger, which I like. The corners are not as rounded. I love the colors. These are colors that you would find in traditional artwork in Korea. Traditional architecture would have these colors painted on them. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So let's flip the deck around. And what do we get? This is the title card. And here we have the Fool. Yeah, I'm sorry, not the Fool, the Magician. What am I saying? So you can see this is more of a standard Marseille deck presentation of the Magician. The table has got lots of stuff, holding up one of the coins. Interesting, the table has no legs. We're used to seeing the table having legs, so I'm not sure how this is suspended. Let's move to the next card. So this is the High Priestess, but the image here is a mudang. Now, mudang is generally translated in English as shaman, and Koreans have embraced that translation. So I will continue using that translation for this kind of spiritual worker. In Korean, mudang, which can be a man or a woman, both are called mudang, and both in Korea, translating into English, use the word shaman. So let's call it shaman, him or her, shaman. Now you'll see that the titles are a little different. Yeah, Here, it doesn't say magician, it says 창조, which means creation. Yeah? Number 2, which is usually the high priestess in Rider-Waite, or the papessa, the pope in Tarot de Marseilles, is called jihe, which is wisdom. Yeah? So there are some differences in this. It's not completely Marseille. This is the Empress, right? But here we have Pugno, which means abundance. Number 4 would be the emperor, right? And he looks like an emperor. You've got the number 4. You can tell he would be the emperor. Guanwi, I think is power. I would need to check that in the dictionary. But you can see that they face each other, which is good. They're both in traditional royal garb. This is a royal symbol in Korea. He's got the traditional king's belt around his waist. Okay, so this would be our Hierophant, or in the Marseille, the Pope. Indo is guide. So it's interesting. The titles, the names of the cards are different. The Lover card, right? And this is a traditional Marseille style layout, yeah? Cupid angel above, yeah? He's got his hand on her belly. This is not an older woman, but an older man. This is male garb. And Hwahap, union, is the name of this card. And let's see, this looks like the Chariot, right? You could tell it's the Chariot. Traditional Korean symbol. We use Koreans use the Korean version of yin yang, which is red and blue for yang, yang. But there's also the 3-colored symbol, which is a variant of the yang, yin yang symbol. 3 forces. Dunjin, I can't translate this right offhand, but it doesn't say Chariot. It says something else. The titles are all different. You could tell what this is right off. This would be strength, or forza, in Marseille. But you'll notice that it's in place 8 instead of place 11. So again, very interesting. So much Marseille influence, but there are these little variances, like strength is at 8 instead of 11. Number 9 would be the Hermit. This doesn't say hermit, it says something else. And he's got a little pack of books behind him, which I think is kind of cool. He's got his lantern. This is a lantern. You can't see the light, but this is a traditional Korean lantern, and his staff. Shaved head, so somewhat monk-like, but the clothes are not traditionally Korean Buddhist monk clothes. So that's interesting. The Wheel of Fortune, and here it says 운명, so it does say fortune down here. Fortune, maybe destiny. The 3 creatures are here. And water beneath, which is not usual. Okay. This would be justice. And you can see he's, instead of a woman, it's a man. He's holding the sword up above. This is a chair instead of a screen, but you could tell the flavor of it. And instead of a balance, he's holding a scroll with a seal, which would be more in the Korean context. Korean's context doesn't have that scale and justice connection. Here we have scrolls of justice. Okay, so the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man says Shilyeon, which I think means perspective is the name of, or the translation for this name. Now it's interesting, doesn't that look like the sun is here in one tree ready to roll across the rope or the branch? This is a branch. Now the rope. The rope is here. Very interesting perspective on the Hanged Man. He's holding a paper fan, which is also interesting. You can see that his hands are free. His hands are not bound. Very interesting. I love the halo. The art in this deck is lovely. It's beautiful. Okay, so here is the This is death. Well, card 13. Card 13 should not have a name in Marseille. And this is resurrection would be the translation. Hiseng. Yeah? Hiseng would be resurrection, which is interesting because we usually think of resurrection in the judgment card. But here we have resurrection here. There's another meaning, another card coming up later. But you can see a little skull here. It's interesting that he's in the ground. He looks like he's in the ground or in some kind of cave. He's got a pack. This person is dressed more like a Buddhist monk or nun, which is interesting. And this might be in reference to an old story. There's a story of a very famous Korean monk who was going to go abroad to study Buddhism, but on his way, he was very tired and he went into a cave. And in this cave, he laid down and was very thirsty. And he found what he thought was a broken open shell or a vessel. And so he drank from it and he was very refreshed. He was very happy and he went to sleep. The next morning, he woke up and he saw that what he had drunk from was a human skull with putrefied water inside. And that's when he became enlightened, that everything is perspective. And that might be this reference, that the monk in the cave and the skull, that moment of enlightenment and transformation, which works for death. Okay, so here we have, now here is temperance. This says balance, which is often what we would think of for the justice card, but here it says balance. But she's got her two vessels. She's pouring water from one to the other or some liquid. She's a spirit, a sky spirit, in a very traditional sky spirit image. The next card is the devil. And here you can see he's got two people tied up, very common. We've got a little nod to the Marseille genitalia here and here, both sort of masculine, feminine, traditional seeming genitalia. Also, he's got fire in one hand. He, she has got fire. He, she, they have, I don't know what this is. This looks like a gourd. But it's interesting that the devil is on clouds of three colors. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. These both look like male figures to me. I don't know what they look like to you. And what's going on with this person's nose? I don't know. Okay. Going farther. Here we have the tower. And this tower is actually more of a gate into a fortress. But you can see it's being shattered here, and two people half the size of the tower are falling off of it. Yeah, both of them look like they're falling. You don't see one looking like he or she is crawling out. Now, I just noticed this, that I think that's the author's stamp down here in the corner. Okay, the star, beautiful woman, not naked, but she does have her top off, and she is pouring water, both into the water, but she is on land. And the star, looking at this, you could, if you know Tarot de Marseilles or you know Rider-Waite, you would know immediately that this is the star. And Sengshin, I think this is, I don't know. It's difficult for me to read this calligraphy. I don't know if you know this, but many foreign learners of English find it very difficult to read some of our styles of calligraphy. And I have a difficult time reading this style of calligraphy in Korean. Just letting you know. Okay, Bujang. So this is the moon, right? But this moon says negativity, which is, I don't know, very odd selection for this card. Now, these are two wooden figures that would often be outside guarding the entrance to a village. See the moon with a face in it. You can see two different colors of canine. One could be domestic, one could be wild, difficult to tell. Instead of a crustacean, there's a turtle down here, which is interesting. So instead of the two towers, we've got these two totems. Sun card, very traditional shape of a sun card. Hand on his belly, not very well dressed, these two. Fairly well off pair. The wall, the sun. A lot of water in this card. There's a lot of water in this deck, I've noticed. Here's some more water. And this is a Hwanseng. Hwanseng. Now this is rebirth. Yeah. For the card 13, it said resurrection. This is rebirth, like death and rebirth, the cycle of death and rebirth. Resurrection is coming to life in the same body. This is coming to life in a new body, right? And so here is a sky princess, a sky goddess, and they're coming up to life on water lotuses in presumably new bodies. Notice the peach. The peach is a symbol of longevity or even eternal life. And here we have the world. I can't for the life of me read this calligraphy. I can't tell you what it says, but you can see that there are four creatures, a turtle dragon kind of thing, a tiger instead of a lion, which would have been down here. Oh, here's a dragon. So here's a dragon, here's a turtle, here's a rooster, and here's a tiger. Probably the four of the Asian astrological signs. Turtle, is there a turtle? Well, the turtle is also a sign of longevity. That might be the reason for selection. I'm not sure. And it's interesting that this looks somehow biological to me. It looks somehow like a womb to me, like this would be the placenta and this is the blood flow feeding the infant child inside of the womb. I don't know. That's what I get from this. It looks very womb-esque to me. And here we have the Fool at 0. So, I didn't point it out, but you did notice, I'm sure, that at card 11 was the Justice card, which is Rider-Waite system rather than Marseille system. But now keep watching. You'll see the Marseille jump out at you. Okay, this is the suit of wood instead of wands. Yeah, this is Namu Bul, wood fire. So it's got that fire sense. Sun and moon. And we have this is the king. Very young looking king, isn't he? Now the order is a little odd. So after the king is somebody that is more like a guard or a knight. And then we have, where is she? There she is. Then we have the queen. So the order is off, and I'm not sure how that affects interpretation. But this is the Queen of Wands, of fire, of wood. Oops, I'm missing one. Oh, okay, just a moment. Okay. So, here are our 3 male cards. And it was in order like this. This is probably the page. This person is dressed like a king, but looks younger. This person is dressed like a scholar, but looks older. I need to look at the book. So the court cards are re-envisioned here. But look at this Ace of Wands, Ace of Wood, fire. Now you have the Yod coming down, the fire from heaven, hand grasping it, but a very Marseille style Ace. And then the 2. Yeah, flowers are different. The flower decorations are different, but this looks very Marseille. The 3. The 4. Now you can see the way they're crossed. The 5. The 6. These are laid out almost exactly like a standard Marseille deck. The 7, the 8. Now this is interesting. The 9. Now the 9 of Wands, as I recall or the 8 of Wands, the 9 of Wands. The 9 of Wands, as I recall, does not have any floral decoration, but we have some decoration here. I'd have to go back and look. And then the 10. This looks like it's in front of the sun, a lot of fire. Perhaps that's the idea. And then we have here the coins, yeah? Dung, earth. But you can see coins, yeah? This is a king, older king. Now this does not look like a scholar. This looks like a traveling salesman to me. And then I think this would be the page. I mean, if we're going in order, and this is the queen. Yeah, those male court cards, especially the knight and the page, it's difficult for me to be sure which is which. And the queen, beautiful headdress, beautiful clothes. Look at the detail at the bottom and the collar. Absolutely lovely. And here we have a very traditional looking ace of pentacles. And then here we have the band. We don't have the name of the creator here like you would normally see on a Marseille deck, but we have the band. Be interesting to see what the 2 of Cups is going to look like. The 3, very similar to a Marseille deck. The 4, with this in the center, yeah. Very standard layout for a Marseille deck. 5, 6, yeah, you've got that sense of it could be in motion here a little bit. 7, 8, these flowers are beautiful. And here we have the Korean version of Yin-yang or Yang. 9 and 10. Now, these flower decorations and the flower decorations here are different, right? Yeah, it looks like they've got different flowers for each of the suits, which is also, I think, a very interesting choice, a choice that I like. And here we have the King of Mur. Okay, Mur, water. So this would be the King of Cups. Difficult to tell if you can't tell that this is Mur, but you've got the blue color. Yeah, the King of Cups is blue. The King of Coins was. Okay, we've got kind of a goldish color for the King of Coins, which makes sense. Although the others don't have that matching color. So we'll see. Okay, here's the next one. Is this the knight? Is this the page? Looks kind of knighty to me, but this is a mask dancer, an entertainer. Not a scholar and not a merchant. And this might be the page. More high standing in culture, but maybe a dancer. Yeah, this could be a dancer. But yeah, we've got vessels here. You could tell it's water. It's cups. And this is the queen, also a dancer. Interesting. A lot of dancers in the water cups, in the water suit, the cup suit. I love this traditional patchwork here in the background. And here we have a very Korean version of a very Marseille Ace of Cups. Yeah, cup, kind of like mountains of water. The 2, okay, we have the border here, but not any information down here. Now these 2, the ducks are a symbol of eternal love and are given as gifts at wedding ceremonies here. So ducks are considered eternal mates, which works well for the 2 of Cups. Of course, these aren't so much cups as they are vessels, right? 3, I love this lotus. So it looks like lotus are going to be the flowers for the water suit. And here's some water lotuses down at the bottom. And fish even. Wow. Don't see fish in many Marseille decks. Okay, more lotuses. The 6 of vessels. The 7 of vessels with 2 more carp, maybe? Maybe carp? Okay, here we go with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, with very little growth here. Yeah. So you can see the 9, no decoration except on the vessel itself. And let's see, what is the 10 going to look like? Ooh, very busy. And the vessel is closed at the top. Yeah, usually this vessel is open and looks like it's about to pour down on the other cups in a Marseille deck, but this one has a lid on it. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so here we have the swords, the last final suit. He is the King of Swords, for certain. Love this traditional, a re-rendering of traditional Korean art. Okay, he doesn't look very happy. He's got his sword. You can tell it's a sword suit. He's got his sword, butterflies, interesting. And camellia, looks like camellia are going to be the, oh wow, very angry looking queen, isn't she? It looks like camellias are going to be the flower decoration and butterflies for the suit of swords, which makes sense. Here we go, the Ace of Swords, yod, all over the place, and a tassel decoration. Interesting. You don't get that cloud or aura with the hand coming out in this deck. 2 of Swords, okay. Interesting, yeah. Butterfly, the Umyang symbol, Umyang colors. The color symbology, I think, is described in the book, but I haven't read the book carefully yet. Okay, the 3rd sword is actually an arrow in this deck. And a butterfly. 4 of Swords. You got this very Marseille kind of ties between the cards on the left, the swords on the left and the right, and another arrow. No butterfly this time. For the 5. For the 6, yeah, very little decoration on the swords. For the 7, another arrow. And this lattice pattern is here, just like on a normal Marseille deck. The 8, the 9, very well woven swords, and the 10. Now you can see here, as in a normal Marseille, the 10 has the 2 swords going in opposite directions, only this time it's arrows. That's a very interesting deck. Again, it's very, very Marseille based. It's a very, very Marseille looking deck, but with differences. Yeah. Again, the ordering of the court cards is different. And it's hard for me right now to tell which is the knight and the page, but we've got all 4 of them there. The suits are pretty easy to tell the difference between. The layout of the elements is just like a Marseille deck, with very similar decoration. Justice and Strength card are reversed, right? And the titles at the bottoms of the major arcana are not the standard Marseille titles translated into Korean. They're very different. So it'd be interesting to see what the book says. I'm not that quick at reading Korean, so I don't know. I couldn't just say, oh, well, this says that the magician is creation, so blah, 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 blah. It takes me time to be able to read this. So I'm sorry, I can't translate that for you right now, but this is the deck. If you're interested in purchasing this, you can contact me and I can help you buy it. It's I know one site that is still selling this deck. It was, when was it produced? I think it was produced a couple of years ago, perhaps in 2014 or 2015. Let's see if I can get a date here. Well, this book was published in 2020, so this is maybe a second edition. So probably it's not going to be that difficult to buy if you're interested. Let me know. And friends, as always, I wish you love, joy, clear awareness. I'm sorry, I'm all confused. I do wish you love. I wish you joy. I wish you well-being and clear awareness. Thank you.